Damn it, man. I just finished recording a 23-minute review over this damn Matrix movie, only to come to find out that the damn thing didn't record and now I gotta do it all over again. But anyways, let me just go ahead and do this because I really want to get this thing out. So this is going to be a spoiler review over the Matrix Resurrections, and I'm going to be reading off of my notes a lot, but man, I'm getting ready to spoil the hell out of this movie. So I just got back from watching this thing here in Tokyo, Japan. The movie came out here days prior to the US release, which is going to be closer to around Christmas time. I don't know whether it comes out on the 21st or the 25th in the United States, but it came out here in Tokyo, Japan on the 17th of December, meaning that I got to see it before my American brethren have. So I'm getting ready to talk about this movie. It's going to be all spoilers right from the get-go. If you guys don't want anything spoiled for you, just make sure that you click off now. If you don't care and you want to know what you're getting ready to get yourself into, keep on watching, man, because just spoiling the fuck out of this. I'm going to call this review The Matrix Resurrections Spoiler Review. I Still Know Kung Fu. So, there are many things that I'm going to get wrong about this movie, so forgive any mistakes you may catch me say after you view the film for yourself. This is one of those movies that definitely will require repeat viewings, and let me get my notes expanded here. Yeah, so it will definitely require repeat viewings for you to understand everything in totality. There was so much for me to remember and so much going on to the point that I'm definitely going to talk about this movie out of order. Not that I want to, it's just that it's just difficult to remember the sequence that things happen in. So I'm just going to talk about it how I remember it. I'll try to hit some key points. I'll talk about the characters, what worked and what didn't work, and I'll definitely it'll definitely make more sense once you see it. This is everything I took in after just one theater viewing only, mind you. So, our hero, Thomas A. Anderson, you will remember that was his name back in the real world in the original Matrix movie. In this movie, he is a video game designer living in San Francisco. And I can't remember the name of the fictional development company that he works for. It's either something like Deus Ex Machina or Binary, one or the other. I can't remember what the damn company was called. I didn't catch it all that well, and I guess I'll try to catch it the next time that I see it. But once this review is up, I mean, that's it. I'm not going to redo this thing anymore. So just figure it out for yourself once you see it. But the parent company that bought out this award-winning development company is none other than Warner Brothers Games. You guys are going to get a kick out of that. Thomas A. Anderson is the lead designer and director of a hit video game series there at this company called The Matrix, and is currently working on The Matrix 4. And Thomas himself, in his day-to-day life, when he's not working on this game, in his personal life, he's going a bit crazy. And he's having all kinds of episodes and visions from his previous life in the first 3 Matrix movies. He believes them to be realistic dreams that he then used to base his Matrix game trilogy story off of. And he frequently meets with his therapist inside of his movie, who prescribes him these blue pills to help keep his mind at ease in these episodes at bay. And yes, you've seen his therapist inside of the trailer, who's played by none other than Neil Patrick Harris. And when he's not working at his gaming studio and when he's not visiting his therapist, he will occasionally frequent a coffee shop when he is not working. And he sees a beautiful woman here on occasion named Tiffany that he crushes on from afar. He can never work up enough courage to go talk to her, so he just admires her from afar. Seeing her also boots some of his previous life memories. He likes her so much that he based his video game heroine, Trinity, off of her. Unfortunately, he can't be with this woman, Tiffany, from the coffee shop once he does build up enough courage and confidence to talk to her, because he discovers that she is married with 2 children. That's a tough blow for him. So something just isn't right inside of Thomas A. Anderson's life. He has anxiety and is always under the belief that the life he's living just isn't real, that he is trapped inside of a matrix. Wanting to escape it at one point in time in his life, he even attempts a suicide by walking off the roof of a building. And I'm not going to say how that plays out, but I'll let you guys see that inside the movie. Things start to really get weird for him when he meets the new iteration of Morpheus that offers him another red pill to escape the life that he feels trapped in. And I've already spoiled the hell out of the movie at this point, but here comes a really big bomb. This movie is not a hard or a soft reboot of the Matrix franchise, nor is it a sequel to the original, because sometimes with like the Terminator franchise or some other franchises that Hollywood makes, they do the first movie so well and they do the sequel so crappy that they're like, well, let's just Superman. They did Superman Returns and they tried to forget about everything but Superman 1 and 2. They forgot about 3 and 4. So Hollywood likes to do that a lot, where they forget about sequels and just pretend like this new iteration of this movie that they made is like a direct sequel only to the original. This is not that at all. This movie is a direct sequel and direct continuity to The Matrix Revolutions. This is The Matrix Part 4, and it takes place some 60 years after the events of that movie when Neo flew into the Machine City. And if you have not seen The Matrix Reloaded or The Matrix Revolutions, you do need to see both of those movies. You need to see all 3 movies prior to seeing this movie. Otherwise, it's not going to make much of any kind of sense to you at all. Big question that you're probably wondering is, how can Morpheus be back inside of this movie, and how can he be so young? Is there some sort of time travel involved, or is there an alternate universe or something? No, nothing of the like. The Morpheus that you know is dead at this point in time, and this new Morpheus is actually a sentient being that exists inside the Matrix and is an amalgamation of like the original Morpheus's consciousness along with an agent. So he's like 2 different people combined into one, something like that. I have to watch the movie again to verify, but this Morpheus character does not exist inside the real world. And when I say real world, I mean the real world within this realm is like the Zion City world, where once people get unplugged from the Matrix, they don't have any special powers anymore. So that's the real world, what I'm referring to. So this Morpheus character does not exist in the real world as a human being. He exists in the Matrix as a sentient being, but he does exist inside the real world as well, but he's not human. He's like a nanobot AI machine type thing. It's so difficult to explain, but he exists in both realms of reality, but he's just not human. That's all. He's sentient in both. Lots of new characters inside of this, and lots of established characters return. I want to give you guys a quick rundown in no particular order and without an in-depth, detailed bio on each of them. I'm just going to name off a few. So there is a new Trinity-type lead female character named Bugs, and she's pretty badass in this. She's the Asian looking woman with the bunny tattoo and the blue hair that you see inside the trailer of the movie. And she's the pilot of a new ship from a new city. And speaking of which, Zion is gone, but now exists a new city called Io, and it is run by General Niobe. Yes, that Niobe, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who is now 60 years older. She's playing a character that is 60 years older and is very weak and is probably coming to the end of her days, from old age inside of this movie. So it's Jada Pinkett Smith all make-upped up, playing like a character that's like 90 years old or something like that, right? But she is a general and the leader of this new city called Io. A lot of the agents in this movie, they are not so detectable by being in Secret Service type outfits that you know them for. They can disguise themselves as normal people now, and they can be skinned as fat people, ugly people, etc. Neo's best friend and co-worker at the game design company that he works at is actually an agent assigned to watch him. And Neo's boss at this same company is actually Agent Smith, but he's way too complicated for me to describe in any capacity. You're just going to have to watch the movie to try to understand him, because I'm not even going to attempt to try to explain that guy. But yeah, that's that. The Merovingian returns, and I believe Neil Patrick Harris's character plays a newer architect of this upgraded Matrix inside of this movie. Going back to the plot a little bit, machines are now at war with one another, with one group becoming a new power. Some of the current human rebels are teamed up with one faction of machines, working together to fight the other. The Io city that Niobe runs as the general is a joint human-machine city. Neo and Trinity's bodies from Resurrections were rebuilt by the machines and plugged back into the power plant. These two bodies alone, offer immense power to the machine city that they are plugged in at. And of course, with them waking up and having their bodies repatriated back into the human city is going to deliver a huge blow to the machines that depend on them for power. So there's a fight by the machines to get them back under control and to get their bodies plugged back into the machine city power plant again. The plot is not actually all over the place, which I'm making it sound like it is. It's just because I'm talking about things out of sequence and just jumping around here and there. It's just above me to explain it coherently, but trust me when I say that I do understand the movie, but just to verbally explain it to you guys is just so difficult. The good things about this movie is it doesn't take itself as serious as any of the previous movies. This one is definitely more of a popcorn flick, but I think that works in its favor. The Matrix Reloaded had some great action sequences inside of it, but the drama and the story dragged inside of that second movie. And Revolutions had a better story than Reloaded, but the action was just kind of dull, and the movie just kind of dragged and was just even more of a boring movie. But this definitely had better pacing going for it than the second and the third movies, and it was better and less convoluted, but it had, albeit, a more complex story. Is it better than the original movie, than the original Matrix? Obviously not. Not even close, man. Does that negate this as being a good movie? No, it doesn't. This movie is great because it brings intrigue back into the franchise, and it has enough callbacks and echoes to the original Matrix, but it's not a rehash. There's all kinds of interesting things happening in this, from the characters to the way that they enter the Matrix now. If you remember, everybody used to be jacked into the Matrix and had to get out of the Matrix from telephone hard lines. But now inside of this movie, they go into the Matrix by walking through mirrors. And of course, the ship operator is still in control of the ship and is navigating you in and out of the Matrix. You can't just jump inside of any mirror and just exit. There's designated mirrors that you can enter into and exit out of, and the operator will help you find those mirrors. But it's very interesting because the mirrors, like the one in the original Matrix movie after he took the red pill that disrupted his input-output carrier, and he touches the mirror and he pulls it back, and he finds out that he could stick his arm and his body inside of that mirror. Now you just stick your whole body inside of the mirror and you're inside of the Matrix. So there's that, the updated way of getting in and out. Let me see, where did I leave off? I was talking about the mirror. Right. So the movie, it's cool, man. It reeks of fun. It reeks of cool. And if you enjoy the franchise, you'll definitely enjoy this. The bad points about it, it's missing the original music. That's probably its biggest sin. John Barry is James Bond. John Williams is Star Wars and Superman. Brad Fiedel is Terminator 2. And Don Davis is The Matrix. I'll go so far as to say that his scores were so iconic. By not having him back here to do the score of this one can bring off one whole star of the film by itself. It's that noticeable. And that music is critical to The Matrix. Say what you will about parts 2 and 3. I mean, I kind of enjoy them to an extent. They're adequate movies. But even if you hate those movies, you cannot say anything bad about Don Davis's scores. He just knocks them out of the park in all three. So I'm sad that those are gone. The other bad point of this film is the tone. I think I mentioned it before, but it's so much more lighthearted than what the franchise started out as in the original movie and how it ended with the third movie. And I know it will turn off some people. I was totally fine with it, with the tone of the movie, because it helped. For me, I feel like it helped reinvigorate the franchise and it made it fresh again. As beautiful as it is at times and how great the effects are at times, I feel like this movie had a little bit less of a budget than parts 2 and 3. And I actually feel like the studio should have thrown more money behind this movie and it would have just been that much more better. But I got those kind of vibes like something was just not what it seems like. It just needed something else. It just needed more money behind it. But I'm certain that a fifth film will be made. And by you paying to go see this movie at the theater, when it arrives stateside, will definitely guarantee that a fifth film will be made. I'm eagerly awaiting that the next one. And the final thing that I'm going to say is this. Neo is no longer the one. Now Neo and Trinity together are one. Just a little hint about what you're going to experience inside of this movie. All in all, it was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fresh. It was refreshing. It was entertaining. And I didn't find myself bored sitting inside of the seat watching it. And I think that you guys are going to love it as well. If you didn't like, your like of the franchise started dwindling and you just found yourself not caring, there may be the possibility that you don't like this one. But if you're a huge Matrix fan, as I am, The Matrix is my favorite, probably one of my best movies of all time. I watched it 400 times. I love this movie. It was great. So anyways, there's that. If you guys enjoyed this review, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'm here in Tokyo, Japan. Anytime that I get a movie early that the United States might not have, I will go ahead and probably do a review of it and put it up on this channel. It's nice having The Matrix early. And with that said, we do not have Spider-Man early. You guys got the third Spider-Man movie, whereas us over here in Tokyo, Japan, we have to wait until January 7th to go see that in the theaters. So that is the trade-off that we made. Is it a better trade-off? I don't know. If you're a bigger fan of Marvel movies, no. If you're a bigger fan of the Matrix movies, then yes. That's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you guys in the next one. And until next time, peace.